And welcome to episode 2 of the Houston Rockets franchise. I'm excited to get this one started. You already saw the introduction. This one is just going to be episode 2, which is the team recap. Basically, my thoughts on every player on the team. And then that'll be pretty much it. I'm going to try to keep this super short. Next episode will be training camp and final rotations, and then we will get to game number 1. So game number 1 will be on episode 4 and will be released on October 4th, which is when the NBA season actually starts. So here are going to be my settings. I'm going to be using a current NBA season, no expansion teams or anything like that. We're going to start in the regular season. We're going to have autosave off. Quarter length is going to be 12 minutes. And that is going to be that. Playoff length is still 7. Automatic league expansion is going to be on. We will see about that though. Draft class quality, we will keep it at 50 for now. Salary cap will be around the same-ish. We may change it depending on what happens. All of this will stay on for now. And injuries will stay on. And roster injuries will also be on. Just to make things a bit more realistic here, a bit more fun. We're also going to be playing on Hall of Fame. However, I will be changing the sliders if I feel like Hall of Fame sucks. As in fact, last year Hall of Fame was a bit rough on the shooting. But I'm going to be playing all these games, so we will see. But we're going to be playing with the Houston Rockets. Pretty solid team overall. The Rockets are in an interesting position, as I say that. We are going to auto-generate the rookies for now. Or I could see if there's a draft class. I don't really know who's in this draft, so it's tough to say. A user-created draft class, 2022, 100% accurate. All right, Obi-Wan Low. Looks like you have a lot of downloads, so we will go ahead and do yours, I guess. Wow, that is a rough layout. I do not like that overlay. Shots only. I want shots only, really? Determine how user timing affects shots in game. I feel like it should be shots and layups, but we'll just do that one. Anyway, we will go ahead and auto save here. Computer coach settings, all of this is going to be on manual. Player minutes auto. Okay, so display mode dark. What's light? Okay, I don't think there's anything I can do to change this awful fucking what am I trying to say? This awful display. Shot feedback, we will put it on off. Shot meter color, we'll put it on white. All of this is just basically introductory settings. We all should be good now, though. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in. Here is our staff. Obviously, this all may change coming up soon. We have Joshua Willis as our CFO. David Johnson as our assistant GM, Steven Silas as our head coach, who's actually really good, which is really weird how good he is for a second-year head coach. Jeff Hornacek as our assistant, Matthew O'Brien as our head scout, who's kind of shit, but we'll see. He did draft Jalen Green, so Brian Barry is also our trainer, who's okay. Let's take a look at our roster to begin. That is not our roster. There it is. So first off, you all know how it goes. I'm going to talk about every player on the team, kind of talk about their future. And to begin, this is the big one. John Wall in real life has expressed he does no longer want to be a part of the Houston Rockets. It was mutually agreeable that he not return to the Rockets. He will be playing in training camp, but he will not be playing a game for the Rockets. So that is the way we are going to do it in real life. John Wall will participate in training camp, but he will not be eligible to play in our games, and he will be traded before the deadline. Hopefully soon. The rough part is it's hard. It's in real life. In real life, the Wizards or the Rockets don't want to give up draft picks to trade John Wall, but it's going to be really hard to get teams to take on that $44 million salary without draft capital. John Wall is pretty good. He's a great inside scorer, great passer, solid defender. He just never has gotten the jump shot quite down. Sorry. And he is 31. So he obviously doesn't fit our timetable. But yes, John Wall will be gone. That is pretty much the main thing. Just because he'll be gone in real life on the Rockets, I'll make sure to trade him as well. I'm thinking about keeping him on the team, depending on how fast I upload these videos. I hope that John Wall's traded in real life, and then I can do that trade in game and hold the phone. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I thought my OBS was having trouble recording, but it does not look like it is. Anyway, so now let's move on. John Wall will just be gone from his team. Just know that. Christian Wood. Personally, I am a big fan of Christian Wood. The sad part is he is already 26, which is a bit old for the timetable of the Houston Rockets. However, 21 and 10 is, for a 6'10" center, those are good numbers. I like Christian Wood personally. He's a stretch 5. 87 driving layup is actually good for a center. 90 dunking's great. He's got an 80 close shot, which is alright. An 81 3 is solid. His post hook is already solid. His interior defense does leave a bit to be desired, but his rebounding is okay as well. And his athleticism is kind of bad. But let's be honest, he's a center. He doesn't need to be athletic. He's going to be a lob threat, and he's going to be a pick and fade threat, and that's pretty much all you need for Christian Wood. Personally, 2 years. The contract that Christian Wood signed, this is insane. $13 million for him is crazy. However, whether or not he'll stay on the team is up for debate because he only has 2 more years left. So we'll see how well he plays in his 2 more years. And personally, I like Christian Wood. I'd love him to be our stretch 5. So I have plans for him to be on the team, but we'll see how well he plays it. Moving on to Jalen Green. Jalen Green's the big one. Jalen Green's 19-year-old out of the G League Unite. He's solid. Jalen Green he's 6'6", 186 as a shooting guard. A bit small, but he has the tools to be a great finisher at the rim already with an 82-85. He already has solid close shot and a good shooting with a free throw. His passing's already solid, a good speed with the ball. His perimeter defense is a 73, which is iffy, but his lateral quickness shows potential. His athleticism is great. Jalen Brown. I was going to call him Jalen Brown. Jalen Green already has the potential to be one of the best well-rounded shooting guards in the game, as you can see. He already has solid badges. So Jalen Green is going to be the man of the future for us. Hopefully is the key. We expect him to have a good year, a great year. And I'm going to probably have to develop that jumper a bit. But hey, as a shooting guard and a small forward, Jalen Green has the potential to be great. So he's going to be our guy for now. Next up, we have Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is an interesting piece because, one, his contract is awful. That's just trash, to be honest. He is a 6th man of the year, though. Eric Gordon is good, as you can see. He's a great finisher. His three-pointer is an 80, is okay. And his defense is a 78. But to be honest, if we can trade away Eric Gordon, I'm just going to do it. He shot horrible in 2019. He did come back, but 32% from 3 is just not going to cut it. I need Eric Gordon. Personally, I would love to dump the salary, but we will see about that. Expect Eric Gordon to be shopped, and if I can get a trade to dump him, I'm going to do it because cap space is not light right now. 18 over 3, that's not what's up for Eric Gordon in any way, shape, or form of the word. But he is a solid option. Next up, we have the standout, small forward, Jayshawn Tate. Jayshawn Tate was an undrafted player that played really well for the Rockets last season with 11-5, 50%, 30% from 3. He's solid. He's a solid playmaker, 6'4", 230, good defender, good rebounder. He has the potential to look like a potential Draymond Green-like player. He has a solid driving lineup, and his dunking and close shot is already there. But you take a look, 70 pass and 74 ball handle isn't bad. 65 perimeter, though, and 68 interior is not great defense with the rebounding that he already has. So we're going to have to work on that a bit. Still, though, 25 years of age, that's good. That's solid. And I see Draymond Green potential in Jayshawn Tate. The defense isn't quite what Draymond could possibly be, too, but I think Jayshawn Tate has potential to be great. He might be off the team. As you can see, his morale is a bit low, but we will see. Next up, we have Kevin Porter Jr. The thing is, Kevin Porter Jr. is interesting. Whoever starts at the 3 is going to be very interesting because Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green are both the same position. And with Eric Gordon and Jayshawn Tate, we don't really have a lot of height on the team besides, someone like David Nwaba and Daniel House. So there's not a lot of height on the squad. But Kevin Porter Jr. had a standout year last season for the Houston Rockets. All right, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Didn't shoot the 3 ball that well, hence why his offense is 82 driving layup, 80 dunk, 75 close shot, 80 mid-range. 77 3 is not bad, but here's the thing, though. 83 speed with ball, 82 ball handle, and 75 passing accuracy. Kevin Porter Jr. shows potential to be a point guard in this league, and that's not normally something you could see. I'm interested to see how well Kevin Porter Jr. runs point. I'm going to attempt to run him at the point during training camp and see if he can beat out some potential people at the point guard, like, for example, DJ Augustin or Dante Exum. But with John Wall no longer playing, with John Wall not playing, Kevin Porter Jr. might take up the playmaking role, and he might thrive. Because I personally I want the young guys to get time. So if I could have a Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green backcourt with Jayshawn Tate as the wing, I personally see that as a win with Christian Wood down low. Next up, we have Daniel Tice. Tice is a very simple player. His contract, in my opinion, isn't worth it. I don't like Daniel Tice per se, but Daniel Tice is okay. Good defender. Good, I guess, mid-range shooter. I don't know. We'll see. His contract's not horrible, but $8 million for him is just, I don't know. We might see Tyson on the trading block as well, depending on if we don't have a good season, because he's 29. In my opinion, he just doesn't have what it takes. Or sorry, he's not on our timetable. But Kenyan Martin Jr. is another guy I would love to start at the power forward, just to rock the young guys, get some time. Kenyan Martin Jr. is already a good shooter. Not really a lot to him other than his athleticism. So it's interesting to see what player he could become, but he might earn the start if we decide to go full tank and full rebuild. David Nwaba is another guy who tore his ACL in Brooklyn, had a decent year in Houston, but he's mostly a defender type, which is fine. I love my defenders, right? But I love my two-way defenders, and personally, that 72 mid-range or 72 3-ball might not cut it, but we'll see how well shooting works on Hall of Fame this season. But David Nwaba, also very cheap as well. So, next up we have Okay, here we go. Alperin Goren from Turkey. Pick 16. He definitely is a project. He'll probably take up the backup center position. Personally, he does not look like he's going to get any significant minutes. Kenyan Martin Jr. is also upset, by the way. I don't know why, but who knows. Next up, we have DJ Augustin, traded from Milwaukee to Houston in the Bucks deal for PJ Tucker. And DJ Augustin is very mid. He's a good three-point shooter and good playmaker, and that's about all you get out of DJ Augustin. I mean, DJ Augustin has been a consistent player for many years in the league, but he's just, your run-of-the-mill point guard, really. He'll get minutes. If Kenyan Martin Jr. doesn't work out at the point, we have him and Dante Exum as potential guards to run if they don't work out. Next up, we have Daniel House. Daniel House has been on the Rockets for a very long time. He's been solid through all his years. Had a bit of a rough one last year, but he's okay. He can shoot, sort of, and he can defend, sort of. Kind of versatile. Other than that, he's an expiring contract. We'll give him a shot. See what happens. Kind of an expendable player, but he's we'll see how well he does. Next up, we have Umar Garuba from Spain, pick 23. He is also a project. However, as a power forward who is 6'8", his offense is terrible, but look at the defensive potential. It's definitely there with A- potential. He has room to grow, ladies and gents. He has room to grow. It reminds me a lot of Nasir Little if he was taller. I'm going to try to speed this up because, once again, it's 20 minutes long. I didn't intend it to be that way, but that's fine. Next up, we have Dante Exum, who re-signed on a solid deal. Dante Exum is okay. He's had injury issues throughout his entire career, but he played solid for Houston last season. And if you take a look at his skills, he's pretty much a defensive playmaker with no real offense. I mean, 7'5" is okay, but pretty much that's where that's at. Josh Christopher, pick 24. He's okay. He's okay. Another just young guy to add to the roster. I don't know if he'll make the backup bench or not. Then we have our two-way spot of Anthony Lamb. Anthony Lamb is just a two-way guy. If he shows out in the G League, he might get a call up. Other than that, though, that is your roster. Pretty much everything you've made. Don't look at our rotation because that won't mean anything. Pretty much all that means is our only untouchable right now is pretty much Jalen Green. Kevin Porter Jr. is available for the right price, same with Christian Wood, but Jalen Green is our man. For now, all we pretty much have is this. Eric Gordon and John Wall are probably going to be shopped, and then if we end up having some trouble late in the year, Daniel Tice will probably be shopped as well, just so we can free up that cap space. And that's pretty much it. I will probably release, here's some transaction reports just because Darius Miller goes to the Lakers, Glenn Robinson to the Timberwolves. This is just stuff the franchise is going to do. We'll see if anyone ends up signing, like people like Boogie and Isaiah Thomas. I'm interested in giving Isaiah Thomas a shot. The thing is I just don't like look at that amount of money. Like, if this was real life, Isaiah Thomas would take a minimum deal. But that's going to be pretty much it. We will save. I will see you guys for training camp. I will talk about who performed well and who gets what rotation spot in episode 3. I'm hyped to do this franchise. It's been a couple of years since I've done one. And hopefully everyone here enjoys it as we look to rebuild the Rockets into a contender. Pretty much with Jalen Green. Solo is all we got so far.